go to your hot spot.
Looking for some hot spots, baby.
We might have to do it, cause
Want to just do it?
I mean, it say it's live.
I'll just turn it on just.
Yeah, see, is it? Hey, Jagga.
Hey.
No, we always come on early to give people an opportunity to sign on, Jess. Like, we always start like 5 minutes early. Hi. Mr. Kane in the building. Hey, Tails. Hi, Ann. At the library, because I gotta go to church tonight. So the house was like too far of a drive, so we met at one of the libraries so I can be closer to church. I said.
They know our location didn't change.
Yeah, because our bookcase ain't in the background.
Wow. Context clues. Hey.
All right, y'all, we're gonna start in 2 minutes. We believe in promptness, just giving people a chance to see that we're live and log in. Jessica, Lord have mercy. Hi, Dominique. Long time no talk to. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Terry. Hey, Cousin Tony. 1 more minute, y'all. And then we live, baby.
6, I usually just use the time. Is that a time in it?
I just want to say hi. Okay, well, thank you, Tony. I love you. Tifa. Hey, Tifa. Hi, Leon. Okay. You just used the what? What you say?
The time at 6.
To do what?
Just see how we're tracking. All right. Good evening, everybody. Hey.
That's a good idea.
It's me, Marcel Jackson. This is my beautiful wife, Rashida Butler Jackson. And welcome to episode 3 of our mini-series, talking to you about financial basics. So this episode would be about credit scores. So my primary source of income is I'm a project engineer at GE Healthcare. I have my own resume writing business, professionally developed. It's linked at the top. I'm also an instructor for a local high school here, Milwaukee Collegiate Academy, and I'm a math tutor.
And as Marcel said, I am Rashida Butler Jackson. My primary income source is I'm a program manager at an amazing nonprofit here in the city called Secure Futures. We provide free financial literacy programming to thousands of teens across the state of Wisconsin and parts of Chicago. And then when I have time, I have another source of income, which is I'm a Lyft driver. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Pretty good. I like that. So why this series is important. So for me, I feel like we do not talk enough about finances in general. So if I would have gotten any of these financial series a little bit earlier in age, I wouldn't have bumped my head as much financially. So that's why this is extremely important to me.
Yep, and this series is important to me because I just want to create a community where we can have open, honest discussions and dialogue about where we mess up and where we succeed when it comes to our financial health. And already since the past 2 episodes, we have had so many people that we've been able to talk to and learn from and share with. So we're just super excited to continue to grow and build with you guys as we grow financially. So, yeah.
Perfect. So the format of the show, Rashida and I will talk to you about some basics concerning credit score. Feel free to leave comments, ask questions, dialogue, and towards the end of the show, we'll answer everyone's question. So important note, so Rashida and I are not financial advisors. We're not financial representatives. We're not tied to any financial institutions. This is not a pyramid scheme. All we're doing is just sharing what we know about finances, about money. So just take that.
And then if you did not get to watch our last 2 episodes, the links are in the description too. We uploaded them to YouTube. So please check those out. We talked about creating budgets and then saving. We also linked an article that we're going to reference and talk about. So we linked it in the description, and then a link to freeannualcreditreport.com is there as well for you to get your free credit report once a year. All right, let's do it.
Perfect. So speaking of the article that's linked, it talks about the 5 components that make up your credit score. So the biggest component, 35%, is your payment history. When you don't pay your credit, your lines of credit on time, they go into delinquency. I will share with you later about my story and how I had some delinquent accounts. The next biggest chunk is 30% of the amounts owed. So that's looking at how much total credit you have as a person. 15% is your credit history. So for me, I started college in 2008. So that's when I took out a student loan, my credit began there. But since my newest line of credit I opened up my newest line of credit in 2017, instead of 9 years of credit history, what I actually have is actually 4. So they take your oldest account, your newest account, and they average them. 10% is the types of credit you have. I will talk a little bit later about installment versus revolving credit. And 10% is new credit, so hard inquiries and how recently you just opened up a new new line of credit. So annual credit report, so the link is in the notes, but www.annualcreditreport.com. So by law, all 3 of the credit bureaus, they have to give you a copy of your credit report. So this will outline every single line of credit you have, how many hard inquiries, your payment history, everything. So by law, and it is free. So if you see any sites out there that's trying to charge you for it, do not do it. It's a scam. The one we link to is the legit one, annualcreditreport.com. So it'll give you that standing once a year of your current credit and what's there. Types of credit. So we have installment and revolving credit. Installment credit is, think about paying stuff back over a fixed period of time. So this will be your car, your auto loans, school loans, personal loans. And revolving credit is different credit cards, store credit cards, whether that be Best Buy, furniture, or clothing stores. So that's basics of credit.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk so much the nitty gritty as much as I'm just going to talk about like different things that I've done that have been really successful for me. So the first thing is please dispute transactions. Credit can be really hard to understand. It can be really tricky. There's lots of words, there's lots of numbers, there's lots of interest rates and things you may or may not understand. Marcella and I, like literally last month, I paid on my Fed loan, which is one of my school loans, paid the money. It came out of my bank account. We went online to look at something else we were looking at on the account, and it said on the home page of my loan account that the bank stopped the payment. But when I went to UW Credit Union, I saw that the money came out. So I called UW Credit Union first. They were able to give me the tracking number, tell me, when the money came out, give me a reference number, and then I had to call Fed Loan and say, hey, on my end, it's showing me that I didn't make a payment, but I did. On Fed Loan's end, they could see it. On my end, there was a glitch and I wasn't able to see it. Had I not called, that could have made it seem like I didn't make a payment, and it would have been a missed payment for me had I not paid it. So just something as simple as monitoring and making sure to dispute anything that doesn't look right, because even if you're wrong and the information there is right, at least you followed up if things didn't feel right. Ask questions. Some of my loans, like my oldest loans, are from when I started college, which was in 2007, which was 10 plus years ago. I don't remember the interest rates for those loans. I don't remember, what's gaining interest and what's not. So it's really important for me to ask questions. So with all of my loans, as I became an adult and got really serious about my credit, I called each lender and I said, hey, break down this loan for me, break down my monthly payments. Can I consolidate? What are my options? Because I applied for this loan 10 years ago. I was 17. I didn't know what I was doing. Now I have questions. Okay. Debt snowball. So what I have done, which has been extremely helpful for me, is with all of my loans, I focus on the lowest loan that I have and I focus on paying that off first. And then I pay the next lowest or the next highest, the next highest, the next highest, the next highest. What that does is it helps you to more quickly knock down some of the debt that you have. We still pay towards all of our debt, but we focus any extra money and any extra income. If we get an extra check in a month, we always focus that on the loans that we're trying to pay off first, which are our small debt. So it's like a snowball. You build snow and it's a little snowball, and then as you roll it, there's more snow and it gets bigger and bigger. That's a debt snowball. Okay, so think about what are those small loans that you can pay off right now, and think about paying those off, especially with tax season coming. Please do not waste your money. If there's a $500 loan you can pay off, or a store credit card that you've been meaning to pay off but you haven't gotten around to it, think about using your tax money to do something like that. Credit consultations. Most of our banks and credit unions have people, financial advisors and financial analysts that can help us with our credit. I'm a member of the University of Wisconsin Credit Union, and I get free credit consultations through my credit union. When I went to my credit consultation, they printed out this extensive credit report, information from all 3 credit bureaus, and they talked me through. You should call this lender and see if you can get this removed. You can call this lender and see if you can lower this payment. You should dispute this because it doesn't look right. And it's all free. I sat there for an hour and I walked away with so many tips and action steps that really helped me to boost my credit right away. So call your bank, call your credit union, and see if they have services like that. And then finally, responsible spending. Having a credit card limit doesn't mean that you have to max out to that limit, okay? Try your best to limit your credit card spending. They say try to stay around 10% of your credit card utilization, because the lenders like to see that you're responsible. So they don't want to know that you're going to max out every single dollar that they give you, because it means that you don't really have room to flex your money, and it's just not really a good look for your reputation. So please, please, please think about utilizing your credit card. I have a Boston store credit card, and they just sent me an email a couple of days ago. I screen capped and sent it to Marcel, and it was an extensive jump in my credit limit. But believe you me, like, I'm not going to be going to Boston stores tomorrow like, oh, I got several thousand extra dollars, let's cash out. Nope, I'm still going to buy one item a month like I do at Boston store, just to keep that credit going and keep showing them that I can pay it off. So please, please, please don't go to the max of your credit card, because that's an automatic ding on your credit card utilization, which does count towards your credit score. I got rid of most of my credit cards and became my own credit card, so I have an emergency fund. If something happens, I don't need a credit card. I have a pot of money, and we talked about this in episode 1 and episode 2 with my emergency fund, so I haven't needed to utilize a credit card in many years. Like, I got rid of my credit card before I moved to Houston, or when I was in Houston, which was several years ago. So think about that and just be really responsible with your spending. Finally, the reason that my credit is so poor, or was so poor at one point in time in my life, is because I just stopped paying my bills, or my credit card, or my school loans back. So when I moved to Houston, Teach for America gave me $3,000 to live, and I didn't get a job right away because we had to go through Summer Institute. So I didn't start teaching until the fall, but I moved there in the summer. So I had to pay my car note, and I had to pay my car insurance, and I had to pay my cell phone bill, and I had to feed myself, so on and so forth. And that $3,000 was depleted pretty quickly. Because of that, I couldn't pay my school loans. So school loans kind of had to go in default. If I would have just called my lenders and said, hey, here's my situation, I need a couple months, or hey, I'm starting this AmeriCorps program, can I put my loans into default, or can I put them in deferment? There are things that I could have probably done to prevent my credit score from tanking. So right now, my payment history is at 90%, but because it's not at 96, 97 and above, it tremendously impacts my credit score. So think about that as well. Pay stuff on time, and when you can't pay, please communicate with your lenders.
All right. Perfect. So Rashida shared her story about credit. So if I talk about mine, I graduated college in 2012. I had 4 credit cards that was all maxed out. So over $5,000 in credit cards. And again, I graduated in May. I didn't start my job until July. So again, the first thing that went was credit card payments. So for those 2 months, I didn't pay, and they ended up becoming delinquent. So anything, if you take longer than 30 days or 31 days to pay your bill, it goes into delinquency. So as I went to go start this new chapter to move to Pennsylvania, a couple housing people denied me because my credit was so bad. And the one place that did give me a chance, I had to put down double the security deposit in order to get in there. So I had to get in there, what I had to pay to move in, and then the security deposit was doubled. So I finally get there, get some help paying for that, again, because I have to start working. I called to go get the lights on, and because my credit was so bad, they said I have to give an extra $240 to them in advance before they'll cut it on. And with rent and also with the electricity bill, if I missed one payment, they kept the money. So yeah, that was crazy. So as I thought about it, like that 2 months of not paying cost me thousands of dollars in the long run, and it also took 5 years for those delinquent accounts to come off of my credit report. So right now my credit is a lot better, but again, like the 2 months not paying, not calling, not asking, not explaining my situations, because when a life event happens like graduating school or losing a job or starting a new job, they're willing to work with you. But since I didn't do it, I had to just live with it. So
so some tips that we have that have worked really well for us. Ask your banks first. If you're gonna apply for a credit card, which I say stay away from credit cards, they're just no good, but that's just me. There are other ways to build credit. I don't know. That's just me. I'm a little scarred. But if you have to go through, get a credit card, talk to your bank for resources. A lot of times, like I said, they have free consultations. I know a lot of banks offer like credit repair classes and courses that are exclusive for members. There are pamphlets, there are brochures that you can get. So use your bank and use your credit union.
Alrighty. As far as hard inquiries, that's every time you give out your social security number and you apply for credit, it dings it. So what it looks very bad if you're applying for a whole bunch of different type of credit cards in a short amount of time. So just limit the amount of credit cards you're applying for. Let it be some space there, because hard inquiries, they just feel like you're just kind of doing anything for money if you're doing too many at one time.
Yep, and run your own race. Your credit life is not going to look like anybody else's credit life. So, we oftentimes look at our peers and look at our colleagues and look at people in our age bracket and say, hey, your credit is a 700, why isn't mine? Or yours at 750, why aren't I? And the reality is you have to run your own race. So stay in your lane, focus on what you need to do. Don't let anybody tell you that by this age you should be here with your credit, or by this age you should be here with your credit. No, it is, everybody's situation is different, everybody's circumstance is different. So run your own race and don't get discouraged if you're not where someone else is in life when it comes to credit, because then you give up and you stop trying as hard and you feel defeated. And you got to have a go-getter mentality when it comes to credit scores. Like, you got to be positive, you got to be determined, and you have to want it more than anything else, or you're going to get discouraged and not want to do it. I want to pause really quickly because Simone gave some good advice here. So she said, get protection on your credit card to cover payments for you in the event you become involuntarily unemployed or can't work due to a health issue. The protection pays your minimum payment until you become employed or released from your doctor's care. So definitely, I've never had to do that or heard of that, but that's a great piece of advice, and I think we should look more into that and see what that's. Do you know about that?
Yeah. So sometimes they'll charge a member rate. So if any unexpected life events happen, then you're covered. So, and I was kind of kicking myself after that because I didn't call when I finally talked to my credit card people during that time I just told you about. I was already enrolled in it. So I literally could have had a whole better experience if I would have just called.
It's offered during the application process.
Oh. Okay.
Perfect. So that means people need to be reading the fine print.
Yeah.
This is why I don't have a credit card. It's a lot. But thank you for that advice. And for those that have credit cards. Yeah. So I'm wondering, can you enroll in it after the application process, Simone? Do you know? Or is it just like a one and done? Let us know in the comments. Okay, you can go ahead and finish.
One app that Rashida and I both use is Credit Karma. I didn't get the app until I met Rashida, but having that instant visual of your credit score once a month, so it's pulling from 2 of the credit bureaus, and every time something happens, or if I go when I'm applying for, like when I apply for my car loan, they send me a text right away, let me know like, hey, somebody's running your credit. So just being aware, it's a free app.
Okay. And sometimes Credit Karma takes a little while to apply certain things or for certain things to show up. So just make sure you stay on top of it. If you know you made a payment, or sometimes they're off by a couple points with their credit scores. So if you know you made a payment, or you know like, hey, I've been paying on time for 2 years and my credit score hasn't changed at all, make sure you're calling your bureaus, calling your lenders, and making sure that everything aligns. Keep your receipts for your credit card payments. Keep your receipts for your car loan payments. If you're paying through a bank, make sure you're organizing it so that you can quickly search through your payments and print those up if you ever need to, because you want to keep a record of those payments. And then free resources. Marcel and I are at the library right now, and for me, I've had a library card ever since I was little, and there are so many books and resources, and sometimes the library offers classes and stuff for people with library cards and members and things like that. It's free, and so you can come to the library and grab a stack of books, and literally, like, I was looking at a library book one time that taught me how to write a dispute letter, because sometimes you have to write letters to creditors or to lenders or to bureaus, and the book told me, I don't remember the book. I'll try to find the name of the book. It was many years ago, but it told me the letter needs to include this. This is how you do the header. These are the things you need to include. This is the language you need to use. This is, this is what you need to include as far as receipts and proof, so on and so forth. So find a book, come to the library, find a free resource, find a book, get online, find some free resources that are legitimate and valid. We have so many free resources out here that we just don't take advantage of. You don't always have to go spend $50 in a class or spend $50 to pay somebody to talk to you. Sometimes the resources are right here in our city, like in our libraries that our taxes pay for.
Exactly. So long term, just think in terms of wealth. So that's more than just the income that you're making. It's how much debt you have, how many assets you have. As you start to think about bigger purchases, as far as purchasing your home or getting a business loan, so lenders care more about wealth, your credit score, how you behave, like your behavior with money. That becomes super, super critically important. So just start to think about things just with a wealth mindset. Okay.
So I can definitely say, since I got back from Houston and got on my feet, I've been able to increase my credit score by a couple hundred points in the past couple years, which is a huge deal, to grow that much with your credit score without me having to pay somebody or without me going through a class or without, this is just all me doing it on my own, writing, calling people. My credit score tanked tremendously, and now I'm at a point where I feel good about my credit score and I'm happy with it, and I'm able to do things like we just purchased a home, car loans and all these types of things that we want to do. And so, yeah, just know that it's possible. Don't be discouraged, because credit scores can be hard, and they can be not, nobody teaches you about this in school, which is why my job is awesome, because we talk to young people. We go into the classroom and talk to young people about things like credit cards and credit scores. And so that's a cheap plug. If you know of classrooms where young people exist, high schoolers, and you want them to get free financial literacy education, please contact me, because we have free classes and curriculum that we offer, so that those young people don't become us sitting here having this conversation telling you about all the mistakes we made. So yeah, it is possible. How long did it take you to build yours up?
Yeah, so that was when I told you about that story. It was a big slap in the face. So about delinquent accounts. So it took me a year and a half to basically double my credit score. So that just tells you how low it was. Because the lowest is 300. It only go to 850. So to double that, but it took me literally 5 years after that, until those delinquent payments came off, then I finally jumped up in my credit score.
And it doesn't always have to take 5 years. If you call, you would be surprised at how many loan places and school, especially with school loans, if you call and say, hey, I've been on time with my payment for 3 years, 4 years. Can you knock this off my credit report? Can we work together? Can we set something up? You might not have to wait that full 5 to 7 years. A lot of credit lenders will work with you, but you have to be willing to call. So trust me, I'm giving mine a couple more months, and then I'll be making some calls to Great Lakes and FedLoan and Navient to say, hey, I've been paying on time for the past couple years. I just purchased a home. I'm paying my home loan on time every month on my mortgage. What can we do? And the worst they can do is tell you no, but at least you put it out there. But a lot of people boost their credit a lot quicker because they just call. They write the letters, they make the calls. And so the biggest piece of advice I can give you is take the time to call and ask the questions.
Alrighty.
Anything else?
No, I think that's all I got.
All right. So again, we are not experts. We're just sharing some tips. Hopefully you saw something or heard something that was helpful. Again, we're still on this journey. I'm trying to get my credit score up every day. I don't know if Marcel really focused on it, but I am. That's how good his is right now. He probably don't need to.
I got good.
But I don't. I mean, it's okay, but it's still a work in progress every single day. So know that you are not alone. And let me just make sure there's no comments in here that we want to respond to. This is great. Our community needs this. Hey,
Yes.
Corey. Corey is one of my fellow alum from TFA. Thanks, Imani.
Hey, thanks.
Learn my lesson. Leon, if you want to share what the lesson was that you learned in the comments, I would love to hear about it. I'm intrigued now. Listen, said, listen to your mom when she says, don't get credit cards, just don't do it. Then Simone shared, and my mom said, as you get better credit, you will get credit offers at the time. Don't all the time. Don't accept them. It's a sign that financial institutions are watching your progress.
Yep.
That's true. You'll get credit card offers when you start going to college, when you become of age to get credit cards. But that's true when your credit starts to build. Different types of offers will come that are more exclusive to people with higher credit. Don't fall for the trap. Check those interest rates. Really look at your finances and see if it's something you need. And then don't make purchases with credit if you don't think you can pay them off in the allotted time. Don't do it. If you don't think you can pay it off in the allotted time that you're given, whether that's 30 days or 10 years, you probably don't need it. So if you're using your credit card every month and you're living off your credit card and you're not paying it down, you need to reevaluate your living expenses, because it does not do anything good for your credit unless you're paying it off every month in full and not having to carry over balance. So that's another thing as well, is with my credit card, I was living off my credit card out in Houston and it just was not good. And so as soon as I paid it off, I was like, take it. And it hit me hard because it closed out a credit account that I had, which is not good because I didn't have a ton of other credit accounts. But I was like, that's fine. I got my car loan. I'm going to be buying a house soon. I got school loans. It will work itself out. And eventually it did. It built back up. So sometimes you got to be willing to take those risks too, on the front end, so that on the back end you can see the results. I cut my credit card because it was harming me more than it was helping me, and it hurt me in the moment, but it helped me in the long run. So think about that as well. All right, that's all we got. We don't want to just be talking for the sake of talking. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Appreciate y'all.
Please like and share. And what are we talking about next week? Oh, wants versus needs.
Wants versus needs. Yeah.
I'm a needs person. Marcel has always been like a wants person, I think. So
Yeah.
but we work really well for the most part. So we're going to talk to y'all about wants versus needs and the struggle with wants versus needs, because I think a big part of that is being financially stable, is being able to identify between the two. And I think sometimes we think a want is a need, but it's really not, and we get messed up. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So tune in. We'll give you guys the details of when. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love you guys. Thanks for supporting us. We try to support people, so it's always good to be supported back. And have a good night.
All righty.
Okay, love
Good night,
you
y'all.
all. Bye.